Retiring GOP Senator Bob Corker is firing another salvo at the president and his followers.
It's not a good place for any party to end up with a cult-like situation as it relates to a president that happens to be purportedly of the same party.
Corker adding he believes top congressional leadership is fearful and wary of upsetting the president. Joining me now to discuss that and more, Ricochet editor Bethany Mandel. Thanks for being with us tonight, Bethany.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Okay, so he says basically they don't want to do anything to run afoul of the president. It's not good for them. Corker went on to say these people always have to run for re-election. It's about the next election. What do you make of his comments today?
I mean, I think he has a point. I mean, this is sort of political calculus 101. You have to be able to keep friends in the White House and make sure that you're able to pass things. And so they sort of have to keep on going. And it's frustrating because there are things that the White House are doing that there should be some pushback. And Marco Rubio today provided some of that pushback with North Korea. But at the end of the day, they are of the same party and they feel like they need to play nice. And sometimes they shouldn't be playing nice.
Well, okay, so David Wasserman of the Cook Political Report says this. He says, if you're a Republican member of Congress who wants to speak out against Trump, you have a couple of choices: retire or lose your next primary. Talking about Congressman Mark Sanford losing his Republican primary last night. We've seen pro-Trump candidates do very well.
Yeah, but Mark Sanford also had a lot of issues with running to Argentina with his mistress.
There's that. There's also that.
It wasn't just because he was anti-Trump. He was a really, really problematic candidate. I mean, I think probably the better example would be in Virginia with Corey Stewart. Mm-hmm. That was really disappointing to see Virginia make that decision, and it's, I think, going to be another Alabama situation where it was. I mean, Alabama was an easy seat that we lost to the Democrat, but I think we're going to see a Democrat take the Virginia Senate seat as well because of this.
Okay, so we have a lot of internal struggle within the GOP about whether or not to support the president. You wrote a very interesting piece where you talk about the fact that there are people on the outside of the GOP and more the progressive and the left who are absolutely flaming people left and right for any support of the president. You wrote this in part. Americans are told they cannot support this man under any circumstances. To do so is racist, the cardinal sin of our generation. Later on, you say, instead of trying to understand Americans and their choice for president, anyone voicing even a modicum of support for the administration is bullied into apologies and silence. And you note some of the most recent examples. So basically, if you say something in support of the president, or if you're not openly defying him, you're a racist, a bigot, any number of things.
Yeah, and so if Americans are now faced with a choice, basically, join the mob or be attacked by the mob, and that's not where the resistance should be going. But that's exactly what the resistance is doing. They've decided that any amount of support for the president, even when he does good things. I mean, there was a criminal justice reform package that has the support of Van Jones, and they've chosen to be silent about it. And for me, as sort of a moderate Republican, I was a never Trumper, now I call balls and strikes. It would be nice for them to say, this is good. You've done a good thing. Do more of that. And then when he does something that they don't like, they have some sort of standing to say, I'm not anti-Trump, I'm not hysterical, but this is something that he's done badly. But they've just decided to ignore the bad stuff, to warp the news stories. I mean, the MS-13 example is probably one of the best. The fact that he called MS-13 animals, and so much of the mainstream media decided to just say that he was talking about, totally misconstrue. And so they're really feeding into his 2020 reelection. Exactly. And the hysteria, I don't see him not being reelected at this point, because your choice is either join the mob or be attacked by it.
Mm-hmm. And you note that the more that people come after him, it sort of validates this concern that some people had that maybe there was, maybe he was right about the media being completely unfair and about conservatives and their viewpoints being just openly mocked. So we'll see. It was a very interesting piece. Bethany, great to have you with us.
You as well.